What's up, guys? Registered dietitian Kara Corey here. Happy New Year. Happy 2019. For today's video, we're gonna do one of my favorite videos actually to do of the year, and that is discussing what food and nutrition trends, we're gonna talk a little diet too, that you can expect coming into 2019. So 2018, we slathered our full bodies in coconut oil. We replaced all our starches for zucchini and cauliflower. We're gonna leave that in 2018 and move right into 2019. Although some of the trends we saw last year are going to repeat themselves this year. And before we jump right in, I wanna say I think a big part of this is, as each year goes on, and I like that I can look back to my older videos on this, as consumers of food, which are all of us, right? We become more and more kind of aware. We become more mindful of what we're consuming and what we're doing and how it's impacting our health. And this is a great thing, right? This is a great thing for us, for our health, for the food market. So each year I see more and more a little bit of a focus on kind of health trends and some of the new food trends and how they influence our health and healthier aging. And I think that's great. If you guys enjoy these types of videos, be sure to stop right now and hit that thumbs up button. And if you want, make sure you are subscribed for all my up and coming videos. I plan to continue to do a lot more kind of health-oriented, health-focused videos, especially the beginning of the new year, just because I want to be here for you guys. There's going to be a lot of BS flying around, a lot of dieting trends and different things that's easy to get caught up in. So I want to be here for you guys emotionally, spiritually, physically, and help you through it so that you guys can keep a good head on your shoulders and approach your health the right way so that you can maintain your goals. Let's first briefly discuss the dieting trends of 2018. I just want to note some of the most common diets we saw in 2018. Number one being the most Google searched diet, which was, you guessed it, the keto diet. I'm sure many of you were gonna guess that correctly. The keto diet was huge. It kind of really started trending upwards in 2017. It was the biggest diet of 2018, and I do believe we are gonna see this as a common diet trend, fad, if you will, heading into 2019. I think this one is gonna be sticking around for a little while. So I believe we're gonna see more of that. And with more of the keto diet, the keto trend, we're gonna continue to see more foods being marketed towards the keto audience. So whether that be going in the grocery store, you're gonna probably find yourself more keto-friendly snacks, which for those of you that aren't familiar with keto, I do have a video a ways back on keto, but essentially your diet is extremely high in fat, very low carbohydrate. So you're gonna see more keto type snacks that are extremely high in fat. You're even probably gonna see, going out into restaurants or fast food joints, more keto options geared towards the keto consumer. So more of that to come in 2019. The second most Googled diet this past year was the carnivore diet, which is kind of similar principles to keto, except you remove vegetables and everything else. You're like straight up eating meat as far as I understand. So that was another huge diet in 2018. I think we'll see it coming a little bit into 2019, but I don't think it's as popular as the keto diet. So possibly we may see carnivore die out a bit in 2019. The last big dieting technique I would say we're seeing is intermittent fasting, which has been around for a while now. You guys know I've discussed this on my channel for quite a few years now. It continues to raise in popularity, and with intermittent fasting there are several different techniques of how to do your fast and utilize intermittent fasting. There's different windows of time that you fast and don't fast, and different ways that people do it. So this continues to be a very large trend, very popular. I think you guys are gonna continue to see this into 2019. I think a big reason this one has stuck around for as long as it has is because it is fairly sustainable for people. It's fairly easy to adhere to, and if anything, it helps assist people in better being able to adhere to their nutrition goals by kind of shortening that window of time that they're eating, therefore feeling more full and satiated because you're eating in a shorter time frame. So ultimately, intermittent fasting, I, as a clinician, haven't really seen it to be an unhealthy approach. Not to say that it can't get there, but for the most part, it has been fairly successful with many people, which is why you do see it very prominent here on the YouTubes and on social media of a lot of people utilizing that as a beneficial tool. So I think that one is definitely here to stay for a while. I do want to mention one more regarding dieting because I don't think it's as mainstream, but if you are part of like the fitness social media world, I think what we've seen recently within this past year, so I predict that this is going to continue quite a bit into 2019, is the anti-diet approach. And so you're hearing a lot of people almost speak out about not dieting, not labeling themselves as being on a set diet or a set way of dieting, or even tracking macros. Even some anti-dieters kind of take a stance that they don't even like people to track macros. I'm not one of those people. However, I do feel like I project an anti-diet approach that there is no need to be on a fad diet. There's no need to jump on the most trendy diet to reach your weight loss goals, because ultimately it's probably not going to be sustainable. So I think this is a good movement that we're moving towards more of that anti-diet approach. More people are speaking out about it. And with anti-diet, what dietitians are often teaching their clients is how to intuitively eat. So that's becoming more popular. I've definitely noticed that myself with just client requests. People coming to me saying, I'm not looking to compete, or I'm not looking to go extreme. I really just want to learn how to intuitively eat. Tracking really bogs me down. So this is becoming more and more common, which I think is a great thing. One thing I want folks to understand is that intuitive eating is not easy. It's not easy. We are intuitive eaters when we're young, when we're babies, when we're kids. You see your pets are typically intuitive eaters. And then society and everything else, our parents, everything else that's projected onto us growing up, really influences our inability to maintain that intuitiveness with our hunger and our fullness cues. So it can be challenging, but it's doable. It's something you have to be patient with. It's not something like your typical diet where you start keto on a Tuesday and did you do keto right? Yes or no. Intuitive eating is a lot more gray in my opinion. It's about just more so being mindful with what you're eating, why you're eating it, how much you're eating, and how you feel before, during, and after. It's really creating a huge awareness with your body and what you're putting into your body. So I think we are going to see more intuitive eating coming in 2019. We're going to see more people speaking up about this approach. We're going to see more people asking how to do it. So as a dietitian, that's a great thing. Let's switch gears over into the food trends that I believe we're gonna see in 2019. The first food trend I wanna mention was here in 2018, and I think we're gonna see it stick around in 2019, and that is just the overall trend with cauliflower. That's not going anywhere anytime soon, so get your Gas X ready, because it gets a little bloated in here. But for real though, cauliflower is great. It's a vegetable. It does have great nutrition to it. One thing I want to say about it though is you don't have to feel guilty if you don't want to replace every starch in your diet with cauliflower, okay? Your pizza crust, your mashed potatoes, your gnocchi, your rice, your everything right now has a cauliflower substitute. It's becoming more and more readily available, especially places like Trader Joe's. Even your local grocery stores are coming up with all kinds of cauliflower substitutes, which are honestly a great way, in my opinion, to increase the amount of vegetables that you're consuming in your diet. But I'm here to say you don't have to boycott all carbohydrates. So don't think that by using those options that you shouldn't have any carbs in your diet. But I do like that the trend is around, because I think it has helped enhance people's diets by increasing their vegetable intake, which in general we continue to struggle with. It's an area we need to improve on. So cauliflower is here to stay. I'm excited to see what new cauliflower substitutes they come up with. The next food trend that started to sneak in a little bit in 2018, and I haven't dabbled in it myself yet, but that is going to be our medicinal mushrooms. We're starting to see mushrooms supplemented now in supplement form. We're seeing it essentially more so in like teas, coffees, and I've even seen it in chocolate, where mushrooms are added in. They have an adaptogen nature to them that essentially assists you in your body's ability to respond in stress. So who doesn't need to better be able to tackle the stressors on a day-to-day basis and what's going on inside our body in terms of inflammation and being an anti-inflammatory type agent within our bodies. So I think we're going to continue to see more mushrooms coming into 2019. I'm gonna openly admit there's not a lot of food I don't like, but mushrooms are something I normally don't get down with. So if you guys have tips on how to work this in, let me know, or maybe I'll try it out for you guys in the new year, but be prepared to see more mushrooms in the market. Next food trend we're gonna see more of in 2019 is a fruit called elderberry. So elderberry, I think, is essentially going to replace our acai, which has been really popular for like I'd say like 3-ish years now. People have been really into acai bowls and the acai berry. Now we're seeing more of the elderberry come into play, and I think we're gonna see more of that this upcoming year. Again, elderberry is just another berry that is extremely rich in antioxidants, so very similar to acai. The one thing I would recommend you do though is have a good understanding of elderberry and how to work with it. Again, this isn't a food that I've ever experimented with at all. You do have to be careful and do your research because it can contain a level of cyanide to it. So based on how you use it, you could potentially make yourself very sick. So just do a little research there. If you're like, ooh, elderberry is supposed to be excellent, make sure you use it properly before you dive into adding that into your food supply. The next one I'm about to talk about, I think, is probably gonna be the biggest one of 2019. We've seen it come into 2018, and that is CBD products. CBD has been around for a while. CBD is, you see it a lot in oils, we've seen it in gummies, supplement form, and a lot of people still have a lot of questions about CBD as, you know, different states get legalized for use of marijuana. CBD, while derived from cannabis, does not contain the psychoactive properties that are gonna give you that high. So I know a lot of people feel very conflicted about using it or being able to, but there has been more and more research being done, more people utilizing it for different needs, really showing a lot of assistance with decrease in anxiety, just overall feeling more relaxed. And a lot of people also use it as well for pain relief too. So I think we're gonna continue to see more and more of that in the supplement industry, but also in the food market as well. We could start seeing that sneak into some of our, not sneak in, they've gotta tell you, but we're gonna see that start to come into the food market as well. 2019 is also going to continue to give us our need for healthier beverages. This has kind of been ongoing the past couple years. I mentioned in last year's video the LaCroix drinks, those like sparkling seltzer beverages, those were huge in 2018, right? So coming into 2019, we're gonna continue to see more of those on the market, which are great in the aspect that they're essentially no sugar, there's nothing added to them. So it's a healthy alternative for a beverage, because that's something that Americans as a whole still really struggle with, and that is our sugary beverage consumption. So the more we can help offer options that people are gonna drink, because we know not everyone loves to drink water all day long. We want some flavor there, we want something different. So more of these healthier beverage alternatives will just make it that much easier to kind of decrease that sugar intake that we don't really need, right? It doesn't really make us feel satisfied when you drink a regular Coke versus seltzer water, right? I mean, one maybe tastes better than the other, but in terms of actually feeling satiated and full, we don't really get much of that from our beverages. So as much as possible, I always try to encourage folks to decrease their calories coming in from liquids. However, we do get some healthier beverages on the market too through things like kombucha. That's been really popular. So some of our healthier beverages do still contain calories and contain sugar, but kombucha has been really huge this past year, and I think we're gonna continue to see these gut-friendly beverages coming into 2019 as gut health, another trend in 2019 and 18, is continuing to be on the rise, and I'm here to support that. Digestive health is something we need to consider and be more mindful of. So I think as consumers, we are trying to learn more about it. We're trying to learn what foods are going to better assist our gut, because we now know those relationships between our gut health and our health in general, right? Our immune system is solely dependent on our gut health, and that microbiome, that whole little world that lives inside of us with all those good and bad little bugs crawling around inside us, have different purposes. So we want to try to host an environment that's going to be as healthy as possible, and that is directly influenced by different things, but a big part of the influence is the foods that we're consuming. So more gut-friendly choices, whether it be through beverages or whether it be through foods, whether it be through supplementation with probiotics, those are all huge areas that are going to continue to increase in 2019. And even a focus, so our focus has been a lot on probiotics, right? With supplements, with the food that we consume, but also the prebiotics too. We have to consider prebiotics and making sure that we're consuming enough of those as well. So I think just being more mindful of what we're consuming and what is best serving our gut health. You know, how often do you sit down and think about how that's really going to serve your gut health? I mean, you know, it's something to consider. We're going to see more and more of this coming into 2019. As we know, it does dictate our energy, our mood, you know, how we feel on a day-to-day basis, and essentially our lifespan and our quality of life. So really important stuff. A trend we continue to see are also non-dairy alternatives, and in particular this upcoming year, what we're gonna see is more oat milk on the market. So right now we've seen a lot of the different nut milks, whether it be cashew, almond. You've had your soy milk for a while now. We then dove into the coconut milk, and apparently 2019 is going to be the year of oat milk. So whether you're someone that actually does need to avoid dairy, or depending on what recipes you're making, it is kind of nice to have different milk alternatives in the kitchen, because different milks do kind of serve a different purpose depending on what recipes you're baking. But I'm gonna get my little dietitian plug in here and just say that I am still of the belief that if dairy does not cause you any issues, if you don't have any issues tolerating it, then you do not need to avoid it. And if you are someone avoiding it, please be sure that you're getting in proper sources of calcium, especially for my younger folks out there. Fortunately, once you're over the age of 30, we just do not absorb as much into our bones as we once did, and our bones start going downhill. As with everything else I'm finding out in my 30s. There really are a lot of different trends, you guys. Another one that's kind of stuck around for a while that I discussed last year is just plant-based consumption. So I'm not talking a vegan diet or having to be a vegan, but what we are seeing in general is more people being focused on consuming more foods from plant-based sources. So not necessarily just plant-based proteins, but just consuming more from plants. And I think that's a great thing to focus on. I think it's something that's very simple and basic. When we go to the grocery store, the options now are so plentiful, and there's just so much to choose from, right? That we kind of get away from filling the bulk of our cart with plant-based sources, fruits, vegetables, you know, just things that come from the earth. You can't argue that those things are good for us. So I think it's a great movement to have in place. Again, I'm not saying we have to go vegan. I'm personally not a vegan, nor will I ever be. But moving into 2019, we're gonna see people who continue to be more aware of how much they're consuming, and maybe not every day having meat, maybe trying to have, you know, more meatless Mondays, or even making that meatless Tuesdays, meatless Wednesdays, and having a few days a week where they avoid meat and consume more plant-based foods. My last food item I think we're gonna see sneak more into 2019, although it's been there for a while, that is tahini, which tahini is just ground up sesame seeds, You guys, if you're unfamiliar with it, probably have had it in the form of hummus. A lot of times there's gonna be tahini in your hummus, but we're seeing tahini used more now in a lot of recipes and baking as a great alternative to your nut butters and your seed butters and all of that. So I think tahini may be our new like almond butter, our new sun butter coming into 2019. There's always a new like popular peanut butter alternative, if you will. So I think we're gonna see more tahini being used, in particular with recipes that call for that kind of fat. All right, guys, I touched on a lot of different diets, different food trends that have been here, that are new, that are coming into 2019. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. I think it's great to just bring a little more awareness to some of these trends that are gonna be around, because as consumers, what we purchase is dictating what the food market is providing to us. So be an informed consumer. Definitely follow the trend of being more mindful of your health, mindful of what the foods you're eating are doing for you. That is something that I am here for, you guys. So if you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Comment below if there's any up and coming food trends that I didn't touch on, because there's a ton, you guys. I just tried to pick my top favorites. Comment below something that you hope to see as an upcoming trend in 2019, or let me know your favorite trend that I mentioned for 2019. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you in the next one.